Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to take a very brief look at the game Clue, The Great Museum Caper. Now the box says that this game is for 2 to 4 players, though I've found that you can increase that to 7, though the more people that you add, the more unbalanced the game tends to get. The age requirement is 10 and up, and the average playtime can vary between 15 minutes to an hour. 15 minutes for the short game, and about a half an hour to an hour for the long game. Now, in Clue, The Great Museum Caper, one player will take on the role of the thief, who will be trying to sneak through this museum and steal as many paintings as they can, and then escape from the museum. Now, the other players will take on the role of various Clue characters, and will be trying to catch this thief. Now, let's just take a moment to look at the components and see how the game is played. Alright, now in the lower left-hand corner here, you've got 6 player pawns: green, yellow, blue, white, red, and purple. These are representative of the Clue characters in the game, or the good guys. You've got 1 gray pawn here that is representative of the thief. The thief does not start on the board at the beginning of the game, however, the thief can be placed onto the board should he or she become revealed as the game progresses. You've got a number of paintings here. These are placed onto the board at the beginning of the game by the Clue players. The thief will be trying to capture these and then escape from the museum. You've got 6 cameras here, each numbered 1 through 6. You've got 2 dice here, which are used by the Clue characters only. The black one is used for movement, while the white one is a special action die, which I'll get into a little bit later. You've also got a number of these locks. These are placed on the doors and windows of the museum by the Clue players at the beginning of the game. Basically, as the thief captures these paintings here and then tries to escape from the museum, these locks will tell the thief whether or not they can get out. O stands for open, and L stands for locked. Now, as far as this pad is concerned, the thief will be tracking his or her movements secretly with a pencil using this particular pad. The players will not be able to see this particular pad. Now, on the very bottom, these are some special actions that the thief can take, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Finally, you have this shield. This is used by the thief to basically hide the movements noted on this pad. As far as game setup goes, the Clue characters have the most work ahead of them. The first thing that they'll do is place the locks on the various doors and windows of the museum. And this process should be kept secret from the thief, just because obviously the players don't want the thief knowing which windows and doors are locked and which ones are unlocked. The Clue players will place the paintings throughout the museum, though there are a few restrictions. You cannot place a painting in the power room here, you cannot place paintings in the gray corridors here, and you cannot place them just inside the doorways of these various rooms here. The cameras are also set up by the Clue characters. They can place them wherever they want, preferably in places that cover the most ground, but that's up to the players. The player pawns can be placed anywhere they want, so if they want to spread them out, that's fine. The thief doesn't have much to do. The thief will just simply wait until the players are done setting up the board, and then they'll go ahead and fill out their little sheet here just to sort of organize things a bit. Now, you can do this however you want, but my preferred method is to write the number of the camera in that spot and then just circle it. These are representative of the various cameras on the board, and these X's are representative of the paintings. This just makes the game a little bit easier to play and more organized as far as the thief is concerned. The thief's player pawn is just simply placed off to the side, and with all of that said, the thief will make the first move. Now, for the very first move of the game, the thief will go ahead and choose an entry point, either a door or a window, and then move 1, 2, or 3 spaces and note it on their pad. Now, to just do that, let me just bring the pad up here, focus there, and let's just say that the thief wanted to come in through this window up here. The thief would move, again, 1, 2, or 3 spaces. Let's do 1, 2, and 3. And after that, the thief will just simply note that, and that'll end their turn. He didn't land on a camera or didn't land on a painting, so nothing happens as of right now. Now, at this point, one of the Clue characters will make their move, and then it'll be the thief's turn again. That's how the turns alternate in this game. It goes thief, one player, thief, another player, thief, another player, and then so on and so forth. The thief always takes a turn in between the Clue players' turns. Now, with that said, let's say it's blue's turn, and blue will go ahead and roll both dice. Now, let's just say that blue goes ahead and rolls, I don't know, a 2, and then rolls one of these eyeballs. Now, he can either take the action first and then move, or move first and then take the action. Now, the eyeball does a few different things. The eyeball allows the player to say, does camera number whatever see you? So, if blue wanted to say, can camera number 5 see me? I would just simply have to look at my pad and make sure I am where I'm supposed to be, which is up here. Obviously, the other players don't know that. And the camera will look up, down, left, or right to see if the thief is within that range. And if it is, then the thief will just say yes. The pawn is not placed onto the board at that time. Now, if the camera obviously cannot see the thief will just respond with a no. And that will end that special action. Now, the other action that the player can take with the eye is, can I see you? In that case, if the thief is within the range of the blue pawn, up, down, left, or right, if it is, then the thief has to say yes, and then the thief will place the pawn onto the board wherever he happens to be. But in this case, the thief is up here, so obviously blue cannot see him. Now, once the pawn is revealed on the board, that pawn will stay there until either the thief is captured or the thief manages to escape. So it's very important that the thief not be seen by the other players. Alright, now let's assume for the moment that blue went ahead and moved his 2 and asked, can camera number 1 see the thief? 1 is not within the range of the thief, which is up here, so the answer would be no, and that would end blue's turn. Now with the thief's turn again, the thief is going to go ahead and disconnect camera number 2. In order to do that, blue is going to go ahead and move over to this 2 here. And he'll opt to end his turn right on top of this 2. Now, what he'll do is he'll cross off the number 2 down here at the bottom of his pad, but he does not let the other players know this until they actually ask or a certain game condition comes up. And with that being done, that will end the thief's turn. Alright, with the thief done taking their turn, let's just say that green is up next to go. Green will go ahead and roll the dice, and let's just say for the sake of argument that green rolls a 3 and an M. M stands for motion detector. Now, again, the green player can opt to take the action first and then move, or move first and then take the action. The M allows the player to ask, what color room are you in? And the thief has to respond. However, the thief does have 2 wire cutters at his disposal. If the thief does not want to answer that question, the thief can cross out one of these M's so that the thief doesn't have to respond. However, once these 2 M's are gone, the thief has to respond to this question no matter how much they don't want to. So, in this case, the thief is going to go ahead and opt not to answer that question and cross off one of the motion detectors. Because green is pretty close to where he is, and if he does respond purple, green's going to be able to swoop right in there and sort of box him in. So the thief is going to go ahead and not answer that question, cross off that M, and that just leaves green to move. And let's just say that green decides to go this way. And that would end green's turn. Alright, now that it's the thief's turn again, the thief is going to go ahead and try and steal this painting over here. And to do that, we'll just simply move... Let me focus in on this first. The thief will go ahead and move 2 spaces over from camera number 2, where it was disconnected, over to this painting here. Now, once a painting is taken, it is not removed from the board immediately. It is removed on the next turn, which I'll show you in a minute. So at this point in time, nothing happens, and the thief just simply ends their turn, though something will happen on the very next turn. Alright, now that it's red's turn, red is going to go ahead and roll the dice. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that he rolls a 4 and this camera with an S on it. That stands for scan. Now, that does 2 things. It allows the red player to ask, are all of the cameras working? And in this case, 2 is not working, so the thief has to respond, no, camera 2 is disconnected, and then remove that from the board. And the second thing that the player is granted or allowed to ask is, can any of the cameras see you? In this case, the thief is still up here by this painting, about to take it. So right now, none of the cameras can see the thief. Now, red still has 4 movement points left here, so red's going to go ahead and go in this direction. Now, on the thief's last move, he landed on top of this painting with the intention on taking it. Now that it is his next move, he can go ahead and take that painting. What he'll do is, let me see if I can focus on this. Again, 1, 2, or 3 spaces. Let's just go ahead and move 1, 2, 3. We'll move against this wall right here. There's the doorway here. And with that movement done, the thief removes this painting from the board. And now the players have a little bit of an idea as to where he is. Obviously, the thief is limited to 3 spaces per move. So the players can deduce, to some effect, that the thief is at most here, or possibly here, or may have just moved 1 or 2 spaces, in which case maybe here, or here, here, and so on and so forth. And that would end the thief's turn. Now, there's just another thing I want to quickly note before I start wrapping up the video. If the thief manages to get to this power room space here, he does not announce that he's done so. But whenever a player asks whether or not a camera can see him, or tries to make use of the motion detector ability on the dice, the thief will have to respond, "The power is out," in which case the players know that the thief managed to get to this power station at some point and shut off the power. Whenever the power's out, the cameras don't work and the motion detector doesn't work. Now, in order to turn the power back on, one of the player pawns will have to get to this power room and then end their turn there in order to turn it back on. And that's pretty much all there is to it. The players and the thief will alternate turns until a few different things happen. If a player pawn manages to land on top of the thief is automatically captured. So that would obviously result in a win for the players. Now, if the thief manages to capture a minimum of 3 paintings and then escape from the museum, in order to escape, the thief will have to end their turn on one of these locks, or the space right next to the lock. And the thief will have to reveal himself, not by putting his pawn on the board, but just by picking up the lock situated there. And players obviously know that he's in that vicinity. If it says open, then that means that the thief has escaped the museum and the thief wins the game. Or if it says locked, the thief will have to go back through the museum and try and find another window or door that is unlocked. Now, in the short game, if the thief manages to get a minimum of 3 paintings and escape, they've won. In the long game, each player will take a turn as the thief, and the person that manages to get the most paintings out of the museum will ultimately win the game. And there you have it. That's just a very quick look at the game Clue the Great Museum Caper. I didn't get to touch on all of the rules found in the manual, but this should just give you a general idea as far as how the gameplay flows. Now, admittedly, the game is a bit older and is probably hard to find. I got it used on Amazon for a decent price, so if you like what you see here, definitely pick it up. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time. You can check out my review at www.dadsgamingaddiction.com, or you can click on the link in the below description. That'll take you there as well. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.